all of you for taking your time in your special moments in your busy schedule to find time to be here in these days where we're having a special press conference of the NDDIS. Could you give yourself a round of applause for being here, please? Because you're special people. Those who come early to occasions are people who have the core and the heart of how important that occasion is. It will soon be full, as the normal thing. No, you know. Right. We have to get executives here who are chairing this occasion, and I would like to start with Chief Bimbo Afolayan, the chairman and initiator of this very, very innovative gesture. Chief Bimbo, could you please come to the high table there? I'd like him to be joined by a friend of ours and someone who represents the state, a special assistant to the Kaduna State Governor, Mohammed Lere. Please, can you join us here, please? And of course, it will not be complete without one of our executives and a very tireless fighter for the Nigerian courts, executively, I would say. You all know his name is David Smith. David, please. We are supposed to be joined, and we will be joined by the High Commissioner, who, like you all know, is a very, very busy man. He has already sent his apologies. And when he finishes with his appointment where he is, he will be with us. But for the time being, the train is moving. I have the program of events of today. I will not follow the program the way it is, because I am very restricted officially, not to be official. I like to go with the flow. We came here to discuss about investments in Nigeria, and we're talking about we in diaspora who want to go back. I don't know about anybody else, but most of us here who are Nigerians, we know the factors that mitigate against us. We know some of us have tried to go to Nigeria and establish businesses. In order to kill a little bit of time and stretch it for those who are coming so that they can participate with us, I would be very, very excited if you guys here would like us to discuss about your experience or any of the factor that you know that mitigates against Nigerians going back to invest. Let's identify them together. Let's have a discussion about it before we go into the press release, all the big stories, and all the drama. Well, I'd like to thank you, the wonderful members of the press who are here. You are the best of the best, that's why you're here. I belong to your corps. I'm a member of the NUJ, you know that. So, I can start by myself if you want me to. I'm a victim of it. You know why? I have been dreaming of going back to Nigeria. And one of the things I wanted to do was to establish a company in Lagos, an IT company stock media, because I'm a media person and I like to go back into what I know best to do. So I went to Lagos, I combed around, and you all know Surulere if you know Lagos, and I thought I should be in the heart between Ikeja and Victoria Island. So I settled for Surulere. I rented an office, I employed about 3 people. Of course, the receptionist who becomes a PA, then the guy or the lady who would always run around us for messages or whatever, then a manager for the office. Then, of course, because I have IT inclusive, I needed to get web designers and those who specialize in development, IT development, those who have, because I tell you one thing, I discovered that in Nigeria, no matter what anybody thinks, we have wonderful young men and women who are very, very good in IT. They can turn IT around with the worst computer. You know, it's in Nigeria I discovered that there are some softwares that we use, that we don't use here, that is very prominent there. You know, and that's how I established that company. And of course, I came back to England after establishing it, telling them what to do, reports and all that. I came back to spend just a month or two so that I go back again and see how we're doing. Well, I spent 6 months. Even though I called them on the phone, I told them how to get jobs. Of course, I have some friends who I left in Nigeria years ago who are now big bosses. So I started contacting them too, that, oh, yeah, I'm back, I have my company in Surulere, you know, my manager will come to see you, and they respond to that. And before I know it, some of my friends were giving us patronage. Oh, you know, at that time, 3 years ago, if you remember, it was compulsory for every ministry to have their websites, and like that. So website was a big deal. So I got a couple of those jobs. But guess what? Most of the jobs I got that came into my office officially, my manager converted it to be his own. But I didn't know. I expected money to be coming into the account. But I was working my ass out here, sending money to pay bills, and there was no money going to the account. Rather, everybody's always telling me about different expense that has to be spent. 1 year down the line, when the landlord sent me a mail to say, your rent is due, that's when I realized that, oh my God, 1 year, I've learned to show for it. I went back to Nigeria angry the second time, and then I went to my friends too to say, you guys promised me so much, you didn't give me enough. And then they were saying, what? They call their secretary, they go into their books and show me LPOs that were raised, job orders that were raised, in my company's name. But in my books, in my account, the money was not there. So how did it happen? The guy who was issuing the purchase order, who was not the boss, would issue the purchase order, and he will second that purchase order to another different company that him and my manager have agreed. The job will be done in my company's name. They will submit the bill in that company's name, and it will be paid. So he has given me the job. But my manager said no to himself. And when I was now angry, and of course, what you do in Nigeria, you threaten them with police. I'm going to get the police, I'm going to whatever. Well, the guy just stopped coming to work. And that was how I closed my office last year, November. Because I said to myself, I paid for 2 years for work, and I pay rent. So that's my experience. What's yours? Anything? Yes? Good. Two.
Proposer to someone that is well known, comes to London and all that. What they did, they took my proposal, keep asking me to come in and all this, and nothing happened. And they used my proposal, but they didn't use it well because they haven't got it for free. So they duped somebody else, got the money, tried to do it, but they ended up doing fundraising day for children. And they wasted all the opportunity. So again, the trust has been breached. Even though I've been given a lot of opportunity now, I just don't know who's trust. I'm still my sister, my brothers, everybody has been there, they've done it. Someone have a shop, the shopkeeper buy their own goods, while you sell your own goods, they sell it and they replace it with their own goods. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on. So corruption is a big thing. So I don't know if the EFCC are still effective as they are. And you need a mentor, you need a business mentor to coffee shops that can take it from A to B, and an honest, successful business mentor. Someone that has had it all, not only for money in the world.
Thank you for sharing your experience. This is how we can understand better. Does anybody want to share his or her experience, please?
Well, one of the major reasons why this project was set up was because in 1999, and this is my life story, I came in 1994 to England, to the UK. 5 years down the line, I never traveled to Nigeria for 5 good years. But by the time I got to Nigeria in 1999, that was the era when internet, they call it internet telephone technology came up. And because I work in the IT sector, I decided I should take this technology back to Nigeria. So we worked on some software. I bought computers. And I used to work as they used to call us systems engineer with the Royal Mail in those days, traveling around the country updating systems. I managed to get some computers which they were even also giving out to us then. And I took them to Nigeria, rented an office at Ikeja, Palace Hotel, I think Ikeja, airport hotel. Got an office, got a telephone number, and then started asking people to come in there. And I put in one of my brother-in-laws, and then one or two of my friends also. And I don't know what happened, but I just realized that they kept asking me to send in more money on a regular basis. And I kept sending me money. They would say, oh, we have problem with this telephone line, let's try another one. And we did that for a very long time. Nothing was happening. Eventually, out of anger, after 1 year, I had to go back to that office to try and retrieve my computers and retrieve all the equipment. But guess what happened? Out of about 10 computers, I only managed to retrieve just one. Not only that, my relationship with my brother-in-law got soiled. But that's one. Also in the past, before I even came to the UK, I used to speculate in land also. I would buy land and before coming to the UK. And by the time I go back to Nigeria, the people they call Omogele, it's a concept in Yoruba land. Some people say they own the land. I've already bought the land, I've paid for it. And I've even sold some of the land to some other people. I was to develop one for myself. Out of about 9+, I only managed to retrieve one. And not only did I the people that I sold to, I had to also refund money to them at an exorbitant rate. So this is one of the reasons why we're looking at what can we do to help Nigerians who have lived there for so long. Because when we go back home, we go in our strength. Not only do we go in our strength, we want to depend on our friends and our family. But our friends and our family, they may not even have the information. So now, if we want something from Kaduna State, the NDDIS has gone all the way to bring something from Kaduna State, so you don't have to go through any third party. So if you need anything now, if I need something in Kaduna, I will not call my friend who is in Kaduna, because that's a wrong move. It's a very wrong move that we normally make. Now it is better for us to actually go to the people that can make it happen officially, but that's the lesson in my story.
Well, you see, these stories are interwoven. They're interwoven and they are repeating themselves in a circle. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard several other stories in the same vein. Like one of the lessons learned from his own is losing relationship with your family because the family disappointed you. I mean, why do you want to lose a relationship with your family if you really dealt with the officials? I know we are also skeptical to say the officials, they want their own back kicks and all that. But I tell you one thing, Nigeria is changing in some ways, in the sense that if you are dealing with the right official, with the right papers, it is only gratitude you can give. And some of them in those positions too, they are now aware too, thank God for the press and the internet. They know that things can leak anywhere. Trust me, and many of the things we hear is happening in Aso Rock. None of us was there. A majority of us were not even close to Aso Rock. But news can fly now, and anybody can read it and know that it's for real. So Twitter. Yeah. You must be very good on that. That's about Twitter lady there. You know, social network and still blog and tweet. You see, so it is one of those things that made me really love this project. When I came for last year with my, I consult for an oil and gas newspaper magazine. And when the publisher was telling me that it's very important to be in this NDDIS, I was one of those that doubted it too. But when I started reading, of course, it's personal. When I read about the organizers of the event, I personally know Bimbo about 25 years ago in Nigeria. He was one of the top organizers of events, advertising and all that. As well, I always tell him when I met him here, why did you travel to? Because I know where his colleagues are in Nigeria. I'm talking about advertising, not when he was selling lands and all that, but just advertising. Anyway, so let us come back to why we're here. Thank you for being patient and for contributing to some of the losses and some of the experiences we've had. You will have the time to also do that later. So let me bring us back now to the program of the day. Of course, my name is Don Pedro Okoje. I'm a broadcaster and what am I again? What? Facebook. No, I'm not Facebook. Somebody said on Facebook. So it must be somebody that also follows me on Facebook too much. Please delete me. I like Facebook a lot. It's a wonderful place to be. But the most important thing of today, the chairman of today, the executives of this day, of this event today, are the gentlemen and ladies of the media. I bow to you, I respect you, I'm loyal to you. I'm the head of media now for NDDIS, and I can promise you, the media will be looked after from now on a first-class basis. Now, to kick off this occasion, I want to call on our executive chairman to give us the opening speech.
The essay to the governor of Kaduna State, Honorable Mohammed Eric, the chair of the steering committee of the Nigerian Diaspora Direct Investment Summit, David Smith, who is also the chair of the British African Business Alliance. Gentlemen and ladies, my colleagues in NDDIS, Toye, June, Theodora, Shaki is just joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the press, I welcome you this afternoon to this press conference. What I'm about to do here is to tell you why we're doing this and what we're doing. This is to follow up on the success of the first Nigerian Diaspora Direct Investment Summit that we had in June last year. That summit was described by the High Commissioner, by the Honorable Abike Dabiri, and a lot of people that came, as one of the best organized summits they've ever been to. It was so well organized because at the end of that summit, we achieved a lot of results. People going to different states to invest. And we've had very good feedback about Nigerians who have gone back home to try to invest in their country. And because of that, we're planning the next summit for June 12th and 13th. That summit actually should have taken place between today and tomorrow, but we decided to shift the date to June 12th and 13th. And this is going to be a business-to-business event for Nigerians in diaspora to interact with people from home. You know, those of us who live in the UK, we're sick and tired of having summits. And every time I go to Nigeria, it's the same thing. They tell me that they're very sick and tired of going to summits. Because most of the summits that we organize sometimes are talk shops. People come into these summits, they deliver papers, nothing happens. But what we have started is, and we call it a revolution, is a new concept in investment drive into Nigeria. And that concept is to go back home to Nigeria, select a few states from Nigeria, and then bring them to the UK. After the summit, we put them in rooms where they sit down, and then you diasporans can book appointments with them and talk to them one-on-one. And we had the first experience last year, and I know Honorable Lere was very busy even up till the middle of the night because people kept going. In fact, I remember they went to his hotel to even sit down with him to discuss. And this is the tradition that we're trying to set up, so that people can really sit down with them and sign deals. Because we don't just want to talk, we want people to come up with projects and say, this is the project I want to do, this is how I want to do the project. And for the man from Kaduna, because he has the authority of the governor, to say, okay, this is how we can support you, this is how we can make you come to Kaduna State to invest. But Kaduna is just one of those states, I will give you the other information. So the diaspora is an unexpected opportunity for Nigeria. And we have an ambitious plan to mobilize Nigerians who live in the UK to lead in the stimulation of the economic growth of Nigeria. And during this summit, we will be showcasing the expertise of Nigerians in the UK who are eager to invest in the opportunities available in Niger Kaduna, and Cross River states. Obviously, because we've changed the dates, some states in the southwest that would have come in, Ogun and Oyo State, are unable to come anymore because, as you know, June 12th is like their Christmas in the southwest, so they are able to attend the next summit. But the good news is that the Honorable Minister for Trade and Investment will be the keynote speaker. Honorable Abike Dabiri will be speaking. The Niger State Governor has already told us that he's coming as well. The research in the diaspora shows us that there's keen interest in sharing in the economic growth and wealth creation that is being achieved in Nigeria. For example, Nigeria is one of those countries where the growth rate is one of the highest in the world. Forget about all the bad stories you hear about Nigeria. Actually, the growth rate in Nigeria, the only problem is that it's not yet trickling to the masses. But there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of investment coming into Nigeria. And you see a lot of Chinese going to Nigeria making businesses. So why can't we are Nigerians who have lived abroad, why should other people come and invest in our country and make money when we cannot go there? And the purpose of the NDDIS is that we can help Nigerians who live in the UK to take their projects. Because every day I'm bothered by people that say I have projects, but I don't know who to go to. Oh, I've taken it to my cousin, I've given it to my brother, and I have problems. And we're saying, this time around, we need to have something that is very structured. And that is the reason we're doing it. So we're moving away from a talk shop, we're moving into real action. So this year, we're going to be more structured. We're talking to commercial firms. And I'd like to introduce Uche, who is the senior partner of Hallmark Solicitors. And that's Uche, could you let stand up and be recognized, please? Solicitors that will be helping Nigerians from the UK. When you want to deal with Kaduna State, for example, Uche will be the one looking at your papers and following up with them, making sure that all the dots are signed or that you don't fall into any kind of a problem. Also, we managed to secure the patronship of the High Commissioner, Dr. Dalhatu Tafida, is the patron of this NDDIS. He's actually promised me that he's going to take this as a major project to ensure that he helps Nigerians to go back home and set up businesses. Another success we've recorded about 2 weeks ago is that we managed to get the former High Commissioner, Honorable Bola Jibola, to also be our Nigerian partner. So Honorable, who used to be the High Commissioner to the UK, has a legal firm that will work with Uche's firm in the UK to talk to the Nigerian companies and the banks. So that's one of the things we're doing. The second thing we're doing is that we're launching a project we call Eminent Nigerian Series. And the Eminent Nigerian Series is that during the summit we'll be launching the first in a series of biographies of Nigerian elder statesmen and heroes of Nigeria. But you know, they always say that the heroes of Nigeria, you know, our young people, they don't know that we have heroes anymore. They think that every Nigerian now that has money is a politician. What they don't really know is that Nigeria used to have some great people. Some of them are still existing. A lot of them are existing actually. But we have the Ahmadu Bellos, the Azikiwes, the Awolowos, all these great people. We want to start to take some of the qualities in these heroes. We will then publish them. We will publicize them so that we can sell them to Nigerians. And the first one we're doing, because as they say, charity must begin from home. So the very first one we're doing is called The Legacies of Dr. Dalhatu Tafida, a time-conscious disciplinarian. If anybody knows the High Commissioner here, there's one thing we talk about him. He's a strict, time-conscious disciplinarian. When there's an event, no minister dare come into the event 5 minutes late. He gets in 5 minutes, 10 minutes before time. So we're compiling, we're writing his biography, and we're focusing on that. That's going to be a very big event in London. We're hoping potentially that the presidency will be interested in this because it is very big. And we see this series as a diaspora contribution to the promotion of ethics and values in Nigeria. And it is being done in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Information and National Orientation Agency of Nigeria. We have engagement with the UK Trade, Investment and Business Council for Africa. We have the British African Business Alliance. We have the Developed Africa, represented by David Foxman here. And we have we're connected with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. So everything we're doing here is in partnership with governments in Nigeria, governments in the UK, our friends who are into investment driving, even in the UK here. So through these networks, we envisage a number of British business and diaspora businesses coming forward to seek Nigerian business partners and extend their Nigerian engagement. We're also working with approval of the Minister of Trade and Investment, who will be delivering the keynote speech. Dr. Dalhatu Tafida, obviously, is the patron of this event. And this project, even though it's my own initiative as chair of KANO, is supported by NIDO. That's the Secretary General of NIDO, just come in, and is supported extensively by the Central Association of Nigerians in the UK. So we have some executives here, like Lamu and June. We have also received commitments from Niger State. We received commitments from Kaduna State. We received commitments from Cross River State. And these are states that we've traveled to, fantastic states in Nigeria. They've promised us that they will provide incentives for investors from the UK. Specifically, and I told them, when we went to Niger State, for example, we were given the opportunity to address the entire Executive Council, all the commissioners, all the judges, all the essays and everything. We stood in their Executive Council and I gave a speech which they really loved. And what they've said to us is that they want to support the diaspora. They even told us to the extent that they're going to give us land. So there are opportunities in Nigeria. All we need to do is for us to be organized and to approach things properly. So we're going to be, we hope that the partnership that we're setting up will be to the advantage of Nigerians in the UK. This project is being sponsored by Niger, Kaduna, and Cross River States. It is also being sponsored by Stanbic Bank, Shell, Aricare, MoneyGram, Monopoly, MedLife Insurance, and other partners. It's not as fantastic as I'm saying it, because some of the monies are not even in yet, but they've given us the support. Thank you very much.
Addressed by Chief Bingo Kamayo, the chair of NDDIS, and also the chair of KENIC UK. I hope you have listened and you're going to get a copy of the press release. SK is going to do that. And in order to bring this forward, you have heard as well how he has traveled with his colleagues in the executive to these states. One of the things I think as a Nigerian too that people are always saying both online and physically is that there is no progress in Nigeria. That Nigeria is still how it was some years ago. And that is a terrible lie. I've been to Nigeria myself. I've seen progress in different places. You cannot equate the progress in different states in the same wavelength. Some governors are fantastic. Some local government chairmen too are fantastic. My local government chairman, who gave my people 15 boreholes for water, I think that guy knew what he was doing. And when he's coming back for re-election, he didn't need to campaign. The people campaigned for him. So there are progresses. Well, not as we expect them, of course. They should do better. But then, would they do better if we in diaspora are not on the ground? I can assure you the answer will be no. We are the ones who know how to instigate, how to make them see the difference of what they should do. I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, each one of you here today, including all our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, we have such wonderful experience and education that is beyond the value that we know. When we get home, the things we see that can turn to money is so much. And we wonder why it's not working well. Well, by the grace of you guys, partnering with these states who are ready to support now, I'm sure we are going to come here in 2015 and it will be a different song we'll be singing. And we'll come with so many people with so much testimonies and remarks of what they've done. And I want to be one of them. I don't want to just stand by the microphone and be talking. I want to also be on the ground and do things. We keep this forward and march on with the speech that is going to be given now by one of our executives here, Mr. David Smith. He's going to talk about the diaspora, fragmentation, and the need for champions. Please, can you welcome Mr. David Smith to the microphone?
Good afternoon, Chief Clinton, representative from Kaduna State. Ladies and gentlemen, it was about 5 years ago, I was sitting quietly at my desk, thinking about this software that we were beginning to market in Africa. And one of my business partners rang me and he said, David, we have an issue in the African community in the UK. It is very fragmented. We do not have a chamber of commerce for Africans in the UK. We may have business groups here and there. And that's when I started seriously to look at the role of the diaspora in the economic development of Africa. And I would ask you to contemplate your doorstep and the business opportunity that is there for you on your doorstep. And your doorstep, for most of you, is the United Kingdom. I'd like to start by talking about champions, and I'd like to applaud Bimba Falayan for the work that he has done tirelessly over the last 2 years that I have known him to bring forward the cause of the Nigerian people in the UK, to look at the issues that they talk to him about as he goes about his role as chairman of CANU. He's a diaspora champion, someone who recognises the potential of the diaspora and goes out of his way in what is effectively an unpaid role to bring forward the issues and the opportunities that a country growing at the rate that Nigeria is growing, and I love the expression, it's growing without power, and we can think about the opportunities that it would have with power. So let's talk about this fragmentation. How do we bring people together? What are the uniting aspects? And very obviously it's business. Business is a uniting aspect because if I can do better for myself, better for my family, better for my community, then I'm achieving something. And we see that motivation. We've done quite a bit of research, informal research, but talking with business leaders across the African diaspora. And in talking about Nigeria, it's interesting to note that it's estimated that there are over 2 million Nigerians in the UK. That something between 1 and 1.5 million families, 300,000 to 500,000 serious business people looking at how they can make a difference for their family, for their community. So, when we talk about potential, the diaspora has a huge amount of potential. It has very, very strong contacts. I think that if The telecoms people were to count the number of telephone calls that were made on Sunday evening. Hello, Mum. How are you? What's going on? Oh, and my sister? And what's that lazy brother of mine doing? You know the conversation. That is potential. I see that conversation as having a host of business opportunities, because the lazy brother is working hard to try and do what the lazy brother is trying to do. The sister is also engaged. The whole family is working at how can we do something more for ourselves. And we're sitting here on our doorstep. We have millions of businesses looking at how they could export. So very briefly, what I'd like to leave you with is the concept that the diaspora in the UK has the contacts. It has access to funding, its own funding and other funding. It has the opportunity to follow a champion like Bimbo and to become champions, to mobilise the companies that they work for, the major organisations that are looking to establish businesses in Africa, looking to establish businesses in Nigeria, and become ambassadors for those companies to help them take that forward, that business on your doorstep. And I would like to see NDDIS this year bring forward a number of ideas so that real business can be created in Nigeria that creates real jobs. Just at the bottom of the sheet that you've got there are 3 graphs. One compares the Nigerian SME sector with the UK SME sector. So it's this one with the pictures on it. 98.8% of businesses in the Nigerian SME sector, according to the Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, are one-man or one-woman subsistence businesses. In the UK, about 75% of SMEs are one-man businesses, one-woman businesses. We looked at that and said, Nigeria is an expanding economy, it's growing, it's going places. It has the opportunity to learn from the UK and apply some of the things that the UK has done over many hundreds of years to create a strong SME sector. If we took the UK profile and applied it to the Nigerian numbers, we would be creating 4.5 million new small and medium-sized businesses in Nigeria. Now, the diaspora cannot do that alone. Individuals in the diaspora can help to create those businesses. But that is the sort of change that projects like this that Bimbo has brought forward begin to move towards. And 4.5 million new businesses would represent something like 45 million secure jobs, which in an economy like Nigeria would be extremely welcome. So I would commend you, when you review the opportunities for investment in Nigeria, to think about NDDIS as a vehicle for engaging the diaspora in what the diaspora wants to do, which is to create widely held wealth amongst its families and its communities to benefit itself and to benefit Nigeria. Thank you very much.
An insight and a very expatiated overview of what is expected of Nigeria and the businesses, especially with diaspora. We have stakeholders. We have sponsors, we have people who, and states who love what is being done and who are supporting us. And I know some of them are here. And we would like to get some remarks of why they support the NDDIS and the diaspora. So any of the representatives of the sponsors and partners at the event?
The special assistant to SSA, to the governor of Kaduna State, Mohamed Leary, to take that slot.
Sir.
Well, good afternoon, my brothers and sisters in the diaspora and Before I make my remark, I'd like to be a contributor to the person who asks of people having problems in doing business in Nigeria. Although I live in Nigeria, but I think I should make a remark on that issue. Most of the problems I had were sort of personal problems. Somebody dealing with his brother, dealing with your sister, and you're being cheated one way or the other. But we have to know that there is no sentiment in business. If you're doing business, you're doing business, and then you have to do it the right way. So whatever happens to you, I think is your fault. You have to do it the right way. That is one. And then secondly, things are drastically changing in Nigeria, especially in business. And that's why we have a representative of NIPC here. And that is why some state governments are highly interested to see what people are doing outside Nigeria, especially Nigerians. We have the NIPC, we have the Corporate Affairs Commission, we have the state governments, and of course, somebody was talking about the social media. There are a lot of ways to find out exactly how to do business in Nigeria. So don't go through the back door. You have to do it the right way. You're assured, of being successful. That is the best way to do things. Having said that, I'd like to congratulate my brother Bimbo, David, and your team for your consistency in seeing that you are bringing this synergy between our Nigerians that are in the UK and then those of us in business in Nigeria as well, to see that we speak the same language, to see how we can harmonize our business relationship, how we can use our skills to see how we can better our country, Nigeria. We are lucky. So many Nigerians have a lot of exposure in the world, in terms of business. And unfortunately, we are not using it the way we're supposed to use it. And this is the time that I think, with the opportunity we have from the federal government, they have given us all it takes, the enabling environment, and also the state as well, for us to do business. So I think we have to capitalize on that opportunity. Now, I would like to congratulate you once more, and then to congratulate the High Commissioner. Unfortunately, he's not here, for his tremendous support, to Nigerians in diaspora, especially those in the UK. Of course, he's an experienced person, a senator, whatever, a staunch politician. So he knows how to do with people. So I'd like on your behalf as well to thank him for his consistency in trying to see that he gives all the encouragements to the group and then to Nigerians in diaspora. And having said that, I must talk about my state. Kaduna State, of course, is a very popular state in Nigeria. It's a cosmopolitan state and has a lot of advantage. And one of our greatest advantages is our proximity with Abuja. Very soon, there will be launch in Abuja, and definitely the next place to go is Kaduna. So the environment is there for people to come and do their business. And we are very lucky. We have a very young and amiable governor who is opening his doors to businesses. And that is why I'm here personally. So whatever I'm saying, like Mr. Fulani said, is the word of the governor. So we are calling you to see what we have in Kaduna State. The environment is there, and despite what we hear in the media and what have you, things are highly secured and we're in charge by the grace of God. We always say that. Now, when you look at the agricultural sector in Kaduna State, we have vast land, arable land. Is that one sector that one can capitalize with. And then the subject of this summit as well, that is the solid minerals. We have more than 100 solid minerals, which we are going to display during the proper summit. And I think people should look inwards to that. And the general business climate now, like I said, in Nigeria, is for us to capitalize on it. And then my advice to all of us, especially those that want to do business in Nigeria, because most of the things I hear are people that are looking for contracts. I think we should go beyond that. we should try and create opportunities where we can capitalize on what is at our disposal within the states. And if you are creative in all these sectors, the agriculture, solid minerals, even in services, I'm sure you'll be able to do a lot of business in Nigeria. And one key is for you to often go there. You have to be visiting, looking at the psyche of people, looking at the environment, getting acquainted with the system, so that you know exactly how it is, how it looks, and how it feels to do business there. And having said that, I would like to once again congratulate my brothers, Bimbo, David, and Co. For their tenacity in seeing that they bring us together, and I'm wishing us all the best. And I hope we're going to have a fruitful and successful event in we mentioned about June 12th. Sometimes I get scared when so June 12th this year. So I wish you all the best, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. So we are marketers. So I'd like to seize this opportunity to hand over some CDs, to the chair and Mr. David on the level of the government. These are a lot of information on how to do business in Kaduna State, and not only in Kaduna State, in Nigeria as a whole. We will distribute most of them during the proper summit, but I'd like to officially hand over the doing business in Kaduna State, and of course, some part of elements of doing business in Nigeria to the chairman of the
I'd like to. Sorry, Pastor, please. I'm not taking over your.
No, it's fine. Right,
sorry, I just want to quickly mention two people in the audience for the fact that they represent a very important part of what we're trying to do. The first person is Annette Dorr. Annette Dorr is a consultant with the NIPC, and she's representing the Nigerian Investment and Promotion Council from Abuja. Annette Dorr. I also like to mention there's a sponsor of this event who is actually meant to be here today. Unfortunately, he's not here. But what is done is to send somebody to represent him. He's actually offered to promote the ENS, the Eminent Nigeria Series, which we're doing for the High Commissioner. And the representative, that's Olatunji Adebayo, is represented by the daughter, Adebayo. And I'd like to say a very big thank you also. I know we maybe there will be room for that, the way that I'm going to help.
Okay. You can keep that. Your Excellency, I heard you talk about the fact that we should grow from the culture of coming to seek for contracts and come to investment and business proper. Well, I don't want you to go too far. I'm one of those who is guilty about that. I was even going to ask you after this if I can get a contract. We also have in the House someone I would like to call upon to give a contribution to this event as well, and what this summit is about and how he sees it from his own forum. I'm talking about Mr. David Foxman of Developed Africa. Please, Mr. David.
Well, I'm not going to speak for very long. I just want to say you may have heard of my company, Developed Africa. It's designed to provide an internet platform to entrepreneurs, NGOs, businesses and governments across Africa to list development and investment opportunities so that they can be seen by an international audience of investors and partners. whilst we cover the whole of Africa, the importance of Nigeria can't be overestimated in these circumstances, given the fact that it's now been recognised as the largest economy in Africa and one that's one of the fastest growing. So we will be working with NDDIS in putting the opportunities that come from the states that are participating onto the internet so that they can be seen by a wider audience and hopefully over a longer period. So we're extending the reach of the conference and also its physical dimension. And I just wanted to say that, to thank Bimbo and David for the opportunity to do this and say that it's a great privilege to be working with them, and I'm sure that it will benefit us, but more importantly, it'll benefit the NDDIS and the Nigerian states and businesses who are looking for partners outside of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David Foxman. Now we come to where the members of the press are more interested in, and that is where they will have to ask their questions to the organizers of the event. Before you start to ask your questions, I'd like to chip in one thing, which is that we have refreshments, so please don't make your questions to be too long.
As nobody wants to stand up, let me say before we ginger people to start asking. Anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, members of the fourth realm of governance globally. My brother and Chairman Farouk, Chief People of Alayo, my friend David Smith, and Your Excellency, the essay to the Governor. I want to welcome you to London. My friend Topi, who joined with me. My name is Godson Azulu, and I'm the General Secretary of NIDO, Nigerian Diaspora here in the UK. I'm also a political commentator, social commentator on television. I also write for and co-publish a paper in Abuja called City Mail Abuja, which I run from here in the UK also. My question goes to the organizers, and looking from the new wave blowing in the country with the announcement of Nigeria being the first and the largest growing or grown economy in Africa, overtaking South Africa at the very moment. And for a country of that to have moved from 30th within the last 5 years to 26th largest economy globally, what is going to be the exact in-roll impact of this investment summit or forum in terms of building upon the economic growth that is being mounted upon Nigeria now, as it going to affect the ordinary common man on the streets of Nigeria? Because the growing question is that the economy is growing, but the people at the bottom are still crying. We are made to understand that the GDP of Nigeria has grown about 7.something%, but our own income per person in Nigeria has also grown in the last 5 years from $1.something to about $2.7 per person, the capital income per person in Nigeria. But still yet, upon the whole investment opportunities that is going into Nigeria, the foreign direct investment, the diaspora investment, the individual contributions back home, still yet, how is these investments and the one you are going to do in June, and the ones that have been going on in Nigeria here in the UK, going to change living standard of a common man in Nigeria and improve the state of social structures in Nigeria?
Thank you. Can I get the mic to the left?
A quotation from David Smith, and he doesn't know that I actually have this. I've been using it now for the last few weeks. First of all, we're not investment experts. We need to make that very clear. We're not experts in investment. We're just a group of Nigerians who are motivated, who have decided to create a bridge between people that want to buy and those who want to sell. Because we realized that there was a breakage in communication. So that's exactly what we're doing here. But to answer your question more directly, let me tell you how we feel that we can change the face of Nigeria. We're looking at the Nigerians who live in the UK, and I can speak for Nigerians who live in the UK because I've lived there for about 21 years now. I think we Nigerians that live here, I'll be very safe to say that vast majority of us are not very, very rich. Let's put it that way. And I would like to say that we're not also poor. But I can say very, very confidently that Nigerians that live in the UK are people who are comfortable enough, who have a little bit of savings here and there in their mortgage, and we have some little bit of money, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds, 100,000 pounds perhaps, that we can invest in Nigeria. And the way we can change the face of Nigeria is that we can mobilize these Nigerians to take this money home to set up SMEs, small medium enterprises, which is the engine of development of any country. So if you look at this country, the shops that we have that we call corner shops, those are SMEs. So Nigerians that can go home and set up a small candle manufacturing company in Kaduna State or in Niger State can employ about 3 or 4 people. So when we employ about 3 or 4 people, we are taking people out of the streets to work for us. And if during the last summit that we had, over 2 days, we had over 1,000 people that came to that summit. Let's just assume that about 200 of those people go to Nigeria to invest in about 4 states. And in those states, we are able to set up SMEs that can employ about 4 or 5 people. Those 4 or 5 people will probably have family, their wives and their children. So before you know it, you are feeding about 200, 300 people just by investing in your country. And this is how we feel that this can trigger on. But you see, a journey of 1,000 years starts with the first step. So it's like a revolution that we're just starting. It's a brand new revolution. We're not asking people to come and invest in mining and set up big companies and all that. We're just saying that there are some certain areas that we can invest in, maybe mining support. And some of these things that we can do, instead of us sending money home by money transfer. And I discourage Nigerians from sending money home, because I've done it for 20 years. It's not changed the economy of my family. So what I've decided to be doing for my family is to set up small-scale sector businesses. And we've done about 3 that is very successful now. Let me give an example. There's a grandma somewhere that some family members set up a borehole business, and they sell water. And it's a very 2-man business. And all it's done is to recruit the vulcanizer that stays in front of the house to help her carry, sell the water to those who dispense water. And this woman never takes money again from the child. And I know about this story because I know that's a family member. There are people who have set up small businesses and they've recruited about 2 or 3 people. So with David, for example, we compiled about 300 different business concepts last year that Nigerians in the UK, you don't even need to know any business before coming to the summit, because we can show you close to 300 business ideas that you can take home. With $5,000, 5,000 pounds, you can set up a block making factory, and you don't have to be home. And you can just say, my brother, I don't have any money to give to you. I'm not going to be giving you money anymore, but I'll give you this machine. This machine will produce, because it's a new technology that is not being used in Nigeria, You can feed yourself and feed your family, send your children to school. And this is the way we feel that we can contribute to the economy of Nigeria.
The company that Bimbo was talking about is based in Birmingham. They are looking to sell their products through the diaspora to provide the opportunity for people to build houses, to build clinics, to build schools, all of those things that are needed in many villages across Nigeria. It would be very expensive for the man from Birmingham to go and start going around villages trying to find people who could actually buy the machines from him and do the rest of that. And that is the traditional mindset for people who are exporting from the UK. We need to get on the plane, we need to arrive at Lagos and we'll open an office. This is very dangerous. An investment advice is very dangerous. The opportunity of the diaspora to provide a role as an ambassador, as an introducer, as someone who can take a concept, if they like it, go and test it and take it forward. That is what we see coming from this sort of conference. And what
Right, my question is directed to the organizers. Considering that there was an event last year, I was just wondering if you could give some insight into success stories in terms of either or both, in terms of statistics. So X number of cases were able to benefit in this regard, and probably highlight one or two success stories. Thank you.
Was that in a rush for us to put this summit together, we didn't put in place the proper mechanism to measure our successes beyond people telling us that they've gone to Kaduna or they've gone to Bayelsa. So it's one of the lessons we've learned, which we are putting in place this year. For example, last year we didn't have the legal advice or the advisor, anybody to sign MOU with. So this year, this is something that we are now discussing, that we will get people to sign before they actually meet with the commissioners or the ministers that come from Nigeria. They will sign MOUs with us. We will also sign MOUs with the states. And we will say to them that anybody that you're discussing with, we want to help you follow up on this on your discussion, so that we make sure that the deals go through. One of the things we've also done to manage it is that we're inviting, apart from NIPC this year, we're bringing in NDPC, we're bringing in Bank of Industry, we're bringing in Stanbic, also bringing in obviously SMEDA. And these agencies will then help us to follow through, to make sure that whatever they're discussing with any state, that things really, really happen. So we don't have the statistics, I'm sorry. But from this year, because we have now we've employed a deal manager, we have a deal room manager, we have a deal room secretary, and they have their staff. And their responsibility is to actually follow through. But I'll give you an instance of one of the experience I had last year. After the summit that we had, and you know that Bayelsa was there. So I was invited to come and say, actually Bayelsa invited me to come and say thank you to their governor for sending the delegates and all that. And after I was also privileged to address the Executive Council. After addressing them, they now said they were to take me out for lunch. And they took me to a restaurant. I don't know if any one of you knows Bayelsa. In Yenagoa, they have one major restaurant. That's their 5-star, I think it's a foreign, it's not Chinese, but some foreign restaurant. So we went there, and as soon as I walked in, I saw this guy who was surrounded by about 5 other British investors. And the guy greeted me and said, "Oh, Mr. Bimbo, don't you know me?" And I said, "No, I don't know you." And he said, "No, I was at your summit just a few weeks back. And on account of the summit I had with you, I've invited these 5 people to come and discuss businesses with Bayelsa State." We're actually talking to the Commissioner for Trade and Investment. So what the High Commissioner told me also was that, "Oh, somebody is talking to my state to Kaduna State about how they can set up a mosquito manufacturing, chemical manufacturing company. This is one new technology that this guy chased us for over 1 year. Like, he wanted to be at the summit. And we brought him to the summit. We only forced him to pay £100 to be at that summit. So when he came to that summit, he talked to, I think he spoke to Kaduna State and spoke to Bayelsa. And he's been to the 2 states now. Now this technology, this chemical, when it is manufactured, if you spray it around your house, mosquitoes cannot fly there for the next 5 years. That is how powerful it is. I was very scared because I said it's not been tested. But this man is now talking to them in states in Nigeria, talking to them in Oyo State, talking to the extent that the High Commissioner also knows that it's in his state. But because we didn't sign any MOU, we didn't follow through, we didn't have any program of knowing how the statistics will work out. We never had this information. So when I called him and I said, oh, can we talk? He said, it didn't help my time anymore. Because this is what we diasporans do to each other. Somebody goes to Nigeria to bring all of these guys, all the diasporans want to do is collect their cards, collect their contacts, and they don't talk to you anymore about it until they have a problem. But this year, we want to manage that properly. Make sure that when you are talking to Kaduna State, we know, we would have signed a document with us, which will make sure that everything is in place. We will then follow through to know how far even if it's just 2 investors. And I assure you, Kaduna State, this time around, we will monitor it in a way that we know if we have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people that have set up businesses. By the time we are doing the one in 2015, we will have all the statistics to give to you. Thank you.
One further point on that. It was the first time that we've done the deal room, and what I was very pleased to see was on the first evening, the states were working late into the evening, and the queue of people wanting to talk to them was in the corridor. I think they eventually closed the deal room at about 8:30 or 8:45 that evening. So there was very definitely a demand from people wanting to have a direct conversation. And what I'm hoping that this year we will have clearer indications from the states about their opportunities and clearer indications from the delegates about what they're looking to do, so the deal room should work considerably better. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for this opportunity to enlighten us about investments in Nigeria. I really appreciate it. But when I was growing up, my name is Joseph Ikalia, and I'm a software developer in the UK, small and medium scale software developer.
And a blogger.
And I'm a blogger also. When I was growing up, my mom told me that the greatest asset in any business is integrity. And we all know the history about the Nigerian integrity and all that. So I want to know why we are going to do business, why we are going to integrate all these Nigerian communities. What are the strategies in place to enhance the trust of diasporic Nigerians so that we can believe more and push it further other than just collecting cards and exchanging pleasantries? Thank you.
In introducing Africans to Africans. And actually, when I'm introducing British companies to British companies, it's the same issue. Who are you? Where have you come from? What sort of scam are you bringing me? And that's an English expression. And one of the answers that I'd like to give you is that there are processes that you can put in place to qualify who you're doing business with. We have a program for that, and it will be part of the NDDIS program. But I was invited to go and meet a gentleman in Birmingham who wanted to start a business, and I sat in his living room with his wife talking about the business that he wanted to set up. And it was fish farming, and I know very little about fish farming. A few days later, having sort of said to him I would see what I could do, I met a gentleman who had spent his life fish farming. And we talked about his business and where he was going now, which is in a completely different direction, but in the same industry. He's actually processing cassava flour, he's looking for funds to help him buy the machinery, he's processing sesame oil. and then he has a plan to make floating fish food out of it. So I said, William, please, would you talk to Francis in Birmingham because he wants to start a fish farm? And he said, who is this Francis? And I said, well, he's a guy in Birmingham and I saw him on Tuesday and this is what he's wanting to do. But fundamentally, he's a member, you're a member. If you would give him a phone call and just talk to him about his business for half an hour, that would be great. They came from neighbouring villages. They recognised each other, and now one is the customer of the other. One is the mentor, and one is buying the fish food. That is how we do it. It's by getting people to talk to each other, and we in the diaspora have the opportunity to really look at how we can use the dynamics of the economy here to help take things forward in Nigeria.
Just to quickly add to that, in terms of integrity that we're talking about, now, like I said, a journey of 1,000 years starts with the first day. We cannot talk about integrity. This is our country. Whatever the situation is, we just have to start to look for solutions. People have asked us, what do we do to set up businesses in Nigeria? In the case of 419, in the case of cheating and all that, how do we manage it? I think that the problems that we have now, the challenges that we have now, we will have to start to perfect methods that we can use to do business with our brethren back home. A very good example is somebody who set up a textile manufacturing. I know somebody who set up a bedsheet making small business in Nigeria, and all she does is employ marketers. When they sell all of these bedsheets, they take them around hotels, and they are very, very beautiful bedsheets, and they'll be named, they'll be branded in the name of the hotels. And she was also initially having problems until she started to perfect the method of payment, the method of sourcing of the raw materials, how the raw materials how they are designed, how they produce, and all that. So we need to keep coming up with ideas. So all of these things are open for us to brainstorm as Nigerians in the UK. How do we make things work better? Because we can't leave it. We can't continue to complain about this project. We need to find a solution to it. And we will get there someday.
In terms of targets, about what you would consider to be a successful target, if you have £5 million in investment, and and to the Kaduna State essay as well, if I could narrow in on your state, would you consider having two investors who've invested £5,000 into success?
One of the issues that we addressed last year was a concern amongst the organisations in Nigeria that we talked to and the organisations here that investment fora had become talk shops where a lot of people talked about what was going to happen and what might happen. And they went away and there was no accountability at all. Through the deal room we are able to tell how many people met. Through the registrations we're able to tell how many people paid to attend. And so we're tightening up on those sorts of things. I would hope that we will have 1,000 people because the room that we're planning to take takes 500 people. We will consider it a success if we have those 500 people each day. The process of making an investment, from the day that I meet you to the day that I sign the check to the day that I get my return, is a very long process. So it's going to be very difficult to say anything more than we've made the introduction. But as Chief Bimbo says, we're going to evaluate what happens. Every deal counts, and it is about the attitude that people come to the conference with, they come to the summit with, that is going to be important. What is success? I would like the states to go home with a list of people who are going to visit them, be it 1, 2, or 20. I would like the businesses that sponsor to have new customers. And I think there are new sponsors coming this time who have been working with the diaspora for some while, but have not taken a forward step. So I would see that as an opportunity for success. Fundamentally, I want diasporas to write and say, thank you very much, as a result of this I got information that I can take forward, or I met someone who is able to help me take my business forward, or I actually got a deal that makes a difference to my family and to my life. So that will be the way in which we will judge success. But in terms of putting a figure on it, 100 million, 100,000, I think there's a huge potential. 300,000 Nigerians with 20,000 to invest is $6 billion. How far are we going to climb up that tree?
Coming up to my own question, for me to become an advisor on trade and investment, I must be doing something maybe right in my own business. So where we are there is for us to bring what we are doing in our own personal businesses to the state to see how we can improve on what is happening in terms of doing business and then opportunities in the state. Now, if you are investing £1 million and the person that is investing £1, we are treating you the same because we consider a profit is a profit. So whatever profit we have, we just can't count it as insignificant. Ours is to see that we create the opportunities, and then as long as we are not losing. So in fact, we don't lose, because for an investor to even come to Kaduna State is a plus to us, because it gives the world, a signal that something is happening, and that is another call for people to come and see what is happening and for them to invest. So I believe if you're investing £1,000, talk to me directly. I will show you the way, and you'll make probably £500 profit. Thank you.
Good morning. I am a journalist. I'm a blogger as well. I know a lot of people that have lofty ideas and they do not have the capital. So how do you help those kind of people?
Sorry, could you say that again? She knows a lot of people who
have lofty ideas.
And
they don't have the capital.
They don't have the capital.
So how do you help them?
Something is that we're bringing in different types of people. We're bringing in the governments from 3 states. We're bringing in federal government. We're bringing in agencies that can make businesses happen for you. For example, if you want to export this, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, they're coming. Sheikh Mahula is coming. We have the NIDC, they're coming. They can tell us how we can set up our businesses in Nigeria. We have SMEDA that can tell us how we can set up small, medium enterprises. More importantly, we're bringing in a commercial bank, just one commercial bank this year. We're also now bringing in a government bank, which is Bank of Industry, which has been set up to promote industrialization, banking in Nigeria. Also, we're reaching out to financiers, financial bodies in the UK. So through the BCA, which is the Business Council for Africa, and some of our British partners, we're looking for people that can provide capital. Also, another set of people that we're going to be inviting to this next summit are those people that we call investors. So these are people who have some bit of capital, but they haven't got them, and they're looking for people like you who have ideas to support. So hopefully, it's a mishmash of bringing in buyers and sellers. So it's a marketplace that we want to bring in.
Well, one beauty of your question is that I think I'm encouraging Nigerians in diaspora to even register companies in Nigeria. You are bound to achieve a lot and benefit a lot. Just what Mr. Abibo is saying, Bank of Industry, they have a lot of opportunities. They have a lot of ideas that you can benefit from. For instance, what they are doing now, they have something, a scheme that they call matching funds. In every state, for instance, my state, Kaduna State, we are providing 1 billion naira, and the Bank of Industry is providing 1 billion naira. And this 1 billion naira are in stages. There are from, let's say, 10 naira to about 5 million naira. You don't need collateral. In fact, you just get your proposal and then they will supervise you from the state government and the bank, and then you do your business. And then from 5 million to about 10 million, you can get not collateral, but somebody from the community that can stand for you. And then from 10 million to about 15 million, then you can have something like a soft collateral. The government is trying to encourage people, to do business by providing these funds for them. And it takes years, maybe about 5 years to pay. And we have a very soft mechanism to do that. The same thing with Bank of Agriculture. We have similar mechanism. So I feel if you are in Nigeria, you can benefit from that funds and then bring your ideas from here and then go back home and then develop it. And I think we should put more emphasis on the SMEs. Don't say you want to start big. You can start and grow. Apart from these two banks, even the Dangote, he has a foundation that is providing funds to Bank of Industry as well. It's providing about, I think, 5 billion or so, and then they are matching it, and then they have skill on borrowing small-scale industries as well. So these are the kind of opportunities we have. So try and get in touch with Madam. Should give you all the road. And then you are welcome to set up yourself.
I think that the word of caution I would give your friends is that if they come with lofty ideas that are closer to dreams than reality, they have a lot of work to do before an investor will look at them and give them money. But if they come with an idea that is well thought through, well presented, and is entirely practical, then the investor will look carefully at what deal that they can do, but it will be like Dragon's Den, and therefore the individual needs to have the impetus behind what they believe in to actually win the share that makes it worthwhile for them to do the business, because the dragon will come along and say, yes, I can do it, and I will take the master share. So it comes down to the attitude and how well prepared these people are. But if they're well prepared, then there are investors who are looking for the ideas that can grow.
Thank you. I say that I have a colleague here, and you know her in the media world, especially in the entertainment world, and all that. I'm talking of Mrs. Theodora Ibekwe Oyebade. She's the PRO of NDDIS, of course, supported by the husband, my very good friend. I'd like to call Uche to please also add to that question the young man asked earlier about integrity, because she's a lawyer and she's a business.
The environment in which you're going into, so it's highly important. It's also important for you as an investor, or to know your market, and you can essentially smell around. You have to be very, very diligent yourself, and then of course you have to make sure that all the groundwork has been done beforehand. We have a lot of situations where, particularly practicing law in the UK, we deal with UK businesses who are British, English origin, but we also deal with businesses which are owned by ethnic minorities. You find that the businesses that are owned by ethnic minorities are not very well organised, and they'll usually push ahead and get the business done, and then turn around and say, well, can you please get the documentation? And we always advise not to do things that way. Make sure that you have your documentation all in place, and you'll iron out the issues as you go along. So it's really quite important to make sure that you've got your groundwork done and you're doing things in its proper order itself. Because when you're doing things in its proper order, you will see a situation where the person that you're dealing with isn't quite as scrupulous as yourself, and then that should be a red flag for you. And so in most cases, you shouldn't be caught out if you're doing things correctly.
Thank you, Lucia. That was a very good one, and I'm sure that's other too. Without much ado, I would like to thank His Excellency, and also would like to send messages to the Honorable High Commissioner, His Excellency Elijah Peter, for giving us the opportunity to use this place, and also for supporting us, being our patron. And you especially, the members of the press, who have taken your time out of your busy schedule to come here and participate in what would make Nigeria great. I'd like to use the words of my very good friend and boss Ben Television, Dr. Alisa Shirede, who sends his regrets for not being here. He believes and he says every time that Nigeria, great nation, good people. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful day. And make sure you be with us June 12th and 13th. Thank you very much.